I wrong for revealing my pregnancy during my sister-in-law's wedding? I know it sounds bad, but hear me out. I, 27 female, found out I was pregnant about a month ago. I was planning to tell my husband, but I changed my mind after I wanted to tell everyone and excite my husband and family at the same time. Though I was honestly a little lazy and didn't want to plan an entire dinner or event to reveal my pregnancy. I knew my husband would be suspicious of why I suddenly wanted to host a dinner party. The only other event that everyone was going to attend was my sister-in-law's wedding. Now, personally, I don't like my sister-in-law. She's always on social media with 1,000 pictures every 10 seconds, flaunting her lavish lifestyle with her fiance's money. Hater! My husband and I aren't wealthy, so I thought maybe revealing my pregnancy would mean I can get even about all those times she bragged about her expensive new purse. You're using your pregnancy as a leverage? It's dumb. The day of the wedding arrives and everything is just beautiful. I was honestly kind of amazed at how incredible it looked. I tried to find a nice time to reveal my pregnancy, but it was honestly much harder than I expected. Flash forward to when we were taking pictures and I gathered everyone up to make an announcement. I ecstatically announced my pregnancy. People like you are the worst kind of people. But instead of getting congratulations, hugs, and kisses by the guests, all I got was kicked out. Good, you deserve to be. Everybody was whispering under their breath, but it was obvious to everyone that what I did was messed up. I don't understand why everyone was so negative about the situation. The most shocked about it was clearly my sister-in-law. She goes berserk, screaming about how I was always jealous of her and how I just couldn't keep help but ruining the best day of her life. I agree with her, like you literally said it from the beginning, your intention was bad. I was too shocked to make a sarcastic remark. She was screaming for me to get out. My husband just grabbed my hand and took us to our car. In the car, my husband lost his temper and asked why I would ever possibly do such a thing. I hesitated to respond, but my husband sure didn't. He called me a massive prick and said I shouldn't have done what I did, but I don't understand. Every time my sister-in-law brags directly to my face, no one says anything to her. When we got home, I checked my sister-in-law's Instagram and it was filled with exaggerated posts and way too many cringy emojis. You're a hater! I honestly feel kind of bad now that I thought about it, but I don't think I'll be satisfied until I get a professional response to my dilemma. So, am I the asshole? Am I wrong for not inviting my sister to my wedding? I, 27 female, have been married to my husband Jay for over 10 years. We got married 6 years ago, but only did it through the court and we never had a wedding. We always said later, but timing was not on our side. Well, it finally is. We decided to have our wedding ceremony and reception later this year and invite our close friends and family. We were doing our guest list and decided that my older sister would not be invited. She has been a toxic person in my life since I can remember. When I started dating Jay, she used to tell him that he could do so much better than me. I've never been someone that wears a lot of makeup and Jay has always known this. She used to tell me that he was going to leave me because I didn't take care of myself. I suffer from an eating disorder and have been impatient. She told Jade that I was crazy and shouldn't be dealing with me and should just leave me. When I was at said impatient, she tried to use me to get an excuse for her job so she wouldn't have to do something she didn't want to, all under the pretense of helping with our girls. This was my second day there. When I told her I couldn't, she called me selfish and why couldn't I do this for her? And didn't reach out for the 2 months I was in there. And just so much more. As the years have gone by, Jay has stood up for me time and time again and doesn't let her run over me. This is something I've had trouble with. She hates this. She mentioned one time that he shouldn't get involved in sister matters. We had a traumatic childhood, so I felt like we just had to be close. I think it's part of why I've had such a hard time cutting her off. Anyways, last Thanksgiving we got into a fight. Jay and I tried to have a civilized conversation and put all differences aside and move forward. It did not go well and she played victim at all times. Jay and I knew we tried. She brushed it under the rug and a few days later was back to normal. After that, a month later, Jay and I had to leave for 2 months for a training and I stayed alone with my 2 girls. She made all these promises of coming to visit us and keep us company, and so did her husband. They ended up coming to our state and then kept making up excuses as to why they couldn't come. She didn't talk to me until she was back to the state she lives in. I was annoyed because they also promised my 6-year-old and then just left her hanging. After they went back, she texted twice and I briefly answered once since I was annoyed and honestly didn't want to get into a fight. A week and a half after the text, the girls and I got into a car accident. Car was totaled and it wasn't pretty. Thankfully, the girls had minor injuries. She never reached out, never cared. My mom and younger sister came to help and called her in FaceTime and she gave me an attitude. It was like something clicked and I was just done. She's a negative and toxic person for me, blood related or not. Obviously, I told my family she will not be invited and they know everything, but they still want me to be the bigger person because she's your sister no matter what, and just be the bigger person again. I've stood my ground, but am I the asshole? Update, we had the wedding this weekend and it was everything we could have wished for and more. We were so happy to finally have this day and share it with our loved ones. These past few months I've been in therapy to deal with just different things, and obviously the topic of my family has come up. My sister and I actually had a talk about a month and a half ago, just her and I. She apologized for a lot of things which she has never done before, so I appreciated that. We also realized that this was the first time we actually sat down to talk, just her and I. No one else involved. My mom would usually want to be there and then meddle, then send messages back and forth, but it was never what me and my sister said. We realized my mom had a lot to do with our relationship and how it went. She knew some of her actions were toxic, and that's when she apologized about it and we had a genuine talk about it. Afterwards, we talked at least weekly and you could feel the difference now that we had talked about everything. She ended up coming to the wedding and there was no drama at all. We really had the best time and everyone got along perfectly. Am I wrong for blowing up at my wife for going to her gender reveal appointment without me? My wife and I are expecting our first baby together. We made an appointment to find out the gender of the baby. To me, this was very important because I have hopes for a boy. Unfortunately, the day of the doctor's appointment, I had to attend my friend's birthday that I remembered last minute. I asked my wife if we could cancel the appointment and go another day, but she looked shocked that I even considered canceling the appointment and going to my friend's birthday. She said canceling the doctor appointment was off the table because these appointments are restricted to a specific time and date and we can't miss it, so she'll go alone. I told her no because that'd be selfish of her. How is it selfish of her when you don't want to miss your friend's birthday party? I told her no because that would be selfish of her, and besides, this will ruin the news of finding out if the baby is a boy or a girl. She cut the discussion and told me to go to the birthday party. I did, and then later found out that she didn't cancel the doctor appointment and went with her mom. I came home seething and blew up at her. I started arguing with her about going behind my back and doing this without me. She said it wasn't her fault that I prioritized a party over my child. I told her I didn't prioritize anything. She literally could have canceled and we would have went another day, but clearly she was trying to steer the fight to a direction where I looked like the neglectful and irresponsible one. We fought some. Then she said I'm probably angry with her because it's a girl, but I responded that she was wrong. She went outside the room claiming I was stressing her out. Now she's acting like I owe her an apology on top of everything else, but I feel upset like I was deceived by her. So am I the asshole?